Hello and welcome to Inside Today. On the program, we'll be looking at the ongoing strike action by the Ssanu-Nasu. Don't go anywhere. The program continues shortly. And if you're just tuning in, it's Inside Today on Global Television. Now, the National President of Nigeria Labour Congress, Joe Ajaero, has called on the federal government to pay the 4 months withheld salaries of senior staff of Nigerian universities and non-academic staff unions of the Educational Associate Institution. This was in reaction to the 7-day warning strike that Ssanu-Nasu began, which grounded universities' activities across the country. Ssanu-Nasu had for about a month called the attention of the government to its exclusion from the payment of the withheld salaries, which commenced payment for the Academic Staff Union of Universities in February. Their salaries at that point were withheld when the administration of the former President Muhammadu Buhari invoked a no-work, no-pay policy against these Academic Staff Union of Universities and the Ssanu for embarking on a strike that lasted 8 months and 4 months in 2022, respectively. Now, we will be looking at this critically and, of course, the ongoing strike that started on Monday, that was yesterday. It is a 7-day warning strike at about this point. And I am being joined by Dr. Moses Saleh. He is a research fellow and a political scientist. And I hope he has joined us via Zoom at this point. Dr. Moses.
Yeah.
Hello, Dr. Moses. Dr. Moses,
good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being a part of the program.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's go into it now, talking about the ongoing strike action. Now, what specific grievances led to the 7-day warning strike by the Non-Academic Staff Union of Nigeria's public universities? For people that are just tuning in and wondering, what is this strike all about?
All right, thank you very much. I think the strike is all about salary, unpaid salary, in arrears. During the last long strike that we had, together with ASU, within that period of that strike, the salaries of these university workers were suspended by presidential direction. So by the time it was resolved and they came back to work, the government started paying in piecemeal. So this group of non-academic staff have not received their own salary in arrears. Within the period of the strike, they did not receive as much as the academic staff have received. So that is the reason why they are embarking on this 7-day warning.
The strike action, for those that are just tuning in to hear why the strike is ongoing. Now, looking at it critically, how long have the negotiations between the union and university administrations been ongoing before the strike was called for?
Actually, the negotiation has been ongoing. It's just that in most cases, the one for ASU is always the one that dominates the discussions, all that. It's always the loudest because of, academic staff. When they are not working, students cannot go to school and all that. So their own appears to be more louder than others. So, concerning the non-academic staff and the senior staff association, they have had their own discussion with the government. It's just that, unfortunately, government has not implemented their agreement for this association like the way it has responded to us before. So that is the reason why they are embarking on this strike. But, if you look at the kind of services that these non-academic staff renders in the university, their services are very important too, because without them creating the right conditions and keeping the university system administration running, the academic component alone is not enough to, to allow the university education to be successful. So their role and their duties and their responsibilities in the university system is very, very important. So the government should not neglect them, considering what they render, should be neglected. They should respond to their own issues as well as they respond to ASU's request. So if ASU were not punished for embarking on that strike, in the point that their salaries are released to them, those who also participated in that strike, they should also be paid accordingly, so that there will be
Exactly.
harmonious environment.
Exactly. You know, you mentioned ASU, like you said, if it was ASU, theirs is louder than some. So do you think when it comes to unions, it doesn't matter the parastatal, even if it's something that has to do with the educational sector or whatever sector it is, there's something called preferential treatment given to some associations, some unions than to others. Would you look at it that way?
Yes, there's a preferential treatment. If you want to look at it that way, there's a preferential treatment. Because, like I said earlier, when ASU embarks on strike, even when students come to school, they are coming because no one is going to teach them anything. Because it's academic staff that will, take students to the classroom and teach them and all that. But in the case of the non-academic staff, even though if they embark on strike and ASU is not on strike, students can still come and teach their lecture.
Exactly.
It's just that what will suffer is clerical work in terms of buy from one place to another and all, and then we'll try to get your transcript or get something that is of administration. That is where you have some issue. But if ASU go on strike and these non-academic staff are on duty, they won't really make much difference. But, you don't go to class to teach students, and it's only when something that has to do with the administration in terms of maybe try to get one thing or the other in terms of their transcript or something that has to do with the administration that they really interact with people. So I think that should be the reason why we are having preferential treatment for ASU against this non-academic staff.
Now, you know what, Dr. Moses? Now, let's look at the key demands of these academic staff unions. And how have these demands been addressed by the federal government? We say it has a lackadaisical attitude attached to it, or it's been taken seriously, or please beg to differ if it's none of these that I've mentioned.
When you look at the agreement that government has had with this association, you know, they have a different agreement with ASU, they have a different agreement with the non-academic staff. But, the truth must be told. You see, what I've discovered is that there appears to be a contestation between the academic and the non-academic staff within the university system. When the academic staff makes any demand, and the government approves the demand or concedes to ASU's demand, the non-academic will wake up and make their own demand and all that. That shouldn't be the case because both are not doing the same job. For you to be a lecturer in the university, the criteria for being an academic staff is not the same as a non-academic staff. For instance, you go to the university system, you could see a non-academic staff who is just maybe a secondary school graduate and just there maybe as a messenger, going around. And while within the university system, now have the opportunity to upgrade himself and all that. But
I
for
have
an
to
academic staff,
interject.
we don't.
I have to interject, Dr. Moses. When you say a non-academic staff is just a secondary school graduate, but you know they play very significant roles. I remember when I was in the university, the clerk then, without the clerk, you cannot go into a lecturer's office. It's not possible. They're the ones then, back in the day, we had the typewriter, was it analog? It wasn't digital. So you see someone in front of the computer who types and gives you your transcript. He can actually mail you, or he can actually, it depends the power in which he has. He has a lot of power. I think that's what people fail to understand. The clerk, the cleaner, the individual that is in the, so many, I'm trying to remember a lot of rooms when it comes to the institution and the key role in which these individuals play. It's a very sensitive one. It's just unfortunate that they don't take them seriously. They don't take them with high regard. The clerk, he's very powerful. The janitor is very, very powerful. Without the classes being clean, the auditorium where lectures are being held is being cleaned. Can anyone go in there? No. So for me, the delay of these payments, it's so sad and unfortunate. Well, please go on. But I just had to beg to differ when you said a secondary school graduate who has power as a clerk to actually give you your transcript and tell you it's not ready now, tell you come back in 2 months, and what are you going to do? You have to follow the due process. So, well, I beg you can differ if it's not in line with what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, what you said is correct. I'm not disputing the fact that their work, what they do within the university system is important. I'm not disputing that. What I'm trying to let you know is that the condition of service for an academic staff and the condition of service for a non-academic staff are not same.
Yes, true. I
That's
understand.
what I'm just saying.
I understand
And
that
that's why I
part.
was trying to book of entry, for instance. For you to be an academic staff, the minimum that is required of you will be that of a master's degree. For you to be an academic staff, just know the minimum required of you to be a master's degree. But that of a non-academic, I was just trying to tell you that you can see people with school start, you can see people with diploma, polytechnic diploma, you can see people with those with first degree and all that. They are the ones that form, the SANO, the Senior Staff Association. So you can see the bulk of the non-academics that are within the bracket I'm talking about are in the NASU bracket. So what I'm trying to let you know is that the mode of entry and all kinds of conditions that are attached to work, they are not the same. So they shouldn't look at ASU because what ASU negotiate with government and get for their members, they shouldn't look at ASU as the basis for their own contestation or negotiation with the government. That's just
But
what
what
I'm trying
other
to let you know. I'm
means?
not saying that whatever that is entitled to them, I'm not saying that
Yes.
their entitlement shouldn't be paid. Their entitlement should be paid.
Yes.
Their
But
salary arrears should be paid.
but
Their
but but Dr.
allowances, their
Moses,
allowances should
but this has tallied for too long. I think this is the only means they can pass their message, don't you think? By going on this 7-day warning strike. I think this is the only way they can pass their message. They should follow suit, don't you think? Because ASU is always taken seriously. Immediately you see the federal government coming out and saying, okay, let's have a roundtable discussion. Let us come together and see how it works. Do not go on strike. Sending threats. Don't go on strike. If you go on strike, this and this will happen. But the SANU and the NAS, I don't think they're asking for so much. But really, for me, I'm just saying, I think this is the only way you can get the government attention when it comes to issues, when it comes to unpaid salaries. Looking at the economic hardship individuals are facing at this present time.
Yeah, we are saying virtually the same. What I'm saying is not different. What I'm just trying to let you know is that the manner which they also embark on, that, you look at it vis-a-vis ASU's point of view and the SANO or the NASU's point of view.
Yes.
Every association have the right to engage the government on behalf of its members. So there's nothing wrong with that. But what I'm trying to let you know is that the manner which, the frequency at which they also go, because when ASU go on strike and come back, or whether ASU is still on strike, you will see this association also, going on strike.
Okay.
And in some cases, you won't blame them because when ASU is on strike, the universities are almost there because students go back home. If the rest students are not around, who would they be attending?
Very
So
true.
for that reason, they also go on strike, or find one thing or the other to go on strike. But what I'm trying to advise this association is that,
Yes.
you know if you like it or not, the work you do, that little work that you do, it contributes in making the university system to be valued. Because anywhere in the world, the university system runs on sound administration. And these are the people that are providing that administration. You know. So if you begin to, disrupt the process by frequent strike, it's going to affect the running of this university.
Definitely.
It's going to affect
Definitely.
the running of this university. If you look at what the minister for labor, the minister for state labor said, he said that, this strike is not yet for strike, that there are avenues for negotiation,
Of
that they
course,
have not
methods.
exhausted this avenue before going on strike. So I will implore them because at the end of the day, they will sit on the table to negotiate, you know. So explore those avenues for negotiation so that the university system, because Nigerian university system has suffered a lot as a result of frequent strike. As a result of frequent strike, the university system in the country has suffered so much. If you look at people who are leaving Nigerian university to go to other universities outside, it's not as if those universities they go outside. Comparatively, they are better. They are not. It's because of the frequent interruption as a result of
Exactly.
strike.
Yes,
That
true.
is why people leave to go to where they can be. If not for private universities that we now have in the country that are now, closing the gap, whereby some people that can afford send their children there, pull their children from public university and put them in private university so that
Private.
they can run their program. If others do that, the consequences will be more than it. So these associations in the university system should be changed. There are other ways. When we are talking about university of common operation, whereby universities can have innovative way of generating and administering their university. Some of these things that they are agitating for can be handled by the university.
Can be handled
Because
by the
if a
university?
class,
Did you just say can be handled by the
yes, the
university?
private individual university, yes.
Oh, wow.
Because if university becomes independent and autonomous in the running, for instance, when the clerk reports to the office, supposed to close by 4 p.m., and now, because of the exigencies of office duties, they now extend the time to like 7 or 8 p.m. So additional 4 hours. So the allowance for that 4 hours shouldn't be waiting for the federal government to pay that. The university administration that knew what happened, they can factor that in within their system to be able to pay. But that can only happen when the university have the autonomy to run its
Exactly. I was
business.
going to ask that. I was going to say
So
that.
that is, yes, yes. So some of these things that they are requesting here and there and there, asking the government to pay this and that, is because these universities are not, self-running. They are not autonomous. So they should make
Yes.
them
They
autonomous
rely on the
to the
federal
point that
government.
they can be able to handle some of these administrative issues within. Because what is obtainable in one university, for instance,
Very
may
true.
be different from what is done in another place. So you cannot centralize it, and on the basis of that, the federal universities across the country go on strike because of one. No, you don't run the system like that. So we should be able to decentralize in such a way that if you're a vice chancellor of a university and you have your deputy vice chancellor administration and all that, you should be able to take care of these administrative issues within the purview of your university. And that can only happen when the they have that autonomy to run the university the way they wish.
I completely agree. I completely agree with what you have said. And still looking at the manner in which this strike is being done at this point, like you said, if universities could have that financial capacity to handle some of these demands of the NASU and the SANU, why not, to ease the tension that is ongoing? Now, still looking at this matter, in what ways has this strike impacted the operations and services provided by the universities to students and staff? Because definitely there will be that laxity when it comes to non-academic staffs going into a strike action. So what impact of operations and services has it provided for these universities?
Definitely, the impacts are there. They are enormous because this crop of staff, these non-academic staff that we are talking about, they are the ones that make the condition
True.
conducive for learning. You understand? Even if they stop working for a month and you visit the university, what you will see will be an item because you will see bush everywhere. You know, you see the car lot dirty, you see the classroom very filthy, and all kinds of things. They keep those things, in good shape. And those things they make learning environment conducive. So if they stop doing that, definitely it's going to affect them. Because who is going to wash the toilet? Who is going to wash this? Who is going to take care of this?
Assign
And the
rooms in
canteens that
hostels.
should start and all right, you see. So at times they may even shut the lecture theaters and keep the kids away because they don't come to us. You may not have access to enter the lecture,
Very true.
you know. And so these are some of the things that might likely come up when you have a prolonged strike from this
Definitely.
association.
Definitely.
And there are also the other services they render that support the academic delivery. For instance, if it is time to write exam, the exam questions, who are the ones that are going to print it, do the photocopy of those exam questions
Very
and make it
true.
available to the lecturers to admit. So they are the ones doing all that. So if they stop doing that and it is time for a particular school to write an exam or to write a test or do one or two things, there will be difficulty in doing that. And like I said, the services that this group of people render to the university system is very, very important. But notwithstanding, they should not emulate or come from the background of saying social welfare has been given to ASU. It must be given to us. Because I have been in the university system for a while, and I know that these are the motivations for strike. Because when I have to go to strike, negotiate with the government, and the government concede some of these things and improve their welfare a little, these ones also mobilize themselves to go and see how they can get their own. So it shouldn't be about us who got this, we must get this. Because the mode of entry is not the same. The
Very true.
condition for service is not the same. Expectation is not the same. You know. So you can see a lecturer who will be in the university for a whole day, conduct his exam. Maybe the exam will end by 6 p.m. or more than that. Collect the exam script, take it home, or go back to the office and throughout the night is marking his script. You understand, grading and all kind of people that you can be able to meet up with the deadline.
Very true. All right, Mr. Moses, Dr. Moses, I think we have a little hitch as regards our signal at this point, but we'll be right back with Insight Today. Don't go anywhere. The program continues, and I'm sure Dr. Moses will be joining us shortly. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the program Inside Today on Global Television. And we're looking at the warning strike of the union, of both unions, SANU and NASU, who had for about a month called the attention of the government to its exclusion from the payment of salaries that will be held, which they commenced the payment for the academic staff of universities in February. And of course, their salaries was withheld when the administration of the former President Muhammadu Buhari invoked a no work, no pay policy against academic staff unions of University SANU for embarking on the strike that lasted 8 months and 4 months in 2022, respectively. And like I said, I am rejoined by Dr. Moses Saleh. He is a political analyst, and he's on the program. Dr. Moses, are you here now?
Yes, I am.
All right, thank you for rejoining on the program. Now, let's talk about the university management. Let's look at the management of the university. Now, what steps have they taken to address the concerns raised by the non-academic staff unions to bring an end to the strike? And that's one. And number two, what role have they played to give necessary support to NASU? Because, of course, the NASU, the union NASU, they fall under the umbrella of academic staff unions of universities. So I think they should work in sync. They should work hand in hand, because it's like, I need you, you need me kind of system when it's in the university. Because, like I said, the non-academic staff, you need them in the university when it comes to the porters who give out hostels to the students, the clerks, the janitor, and all of that. And of course, the lecturer, you need the lecturer in order to give lectures to the students. So it's a win-win situation. So let's talk about the support system, ways in which they have tried to bring the strike to an end, and then the support system. Since it's, like I said, a win-win situation, you scratch my back and I scratch your back. So we have to work in sync. We have to work together in unity. So what role have they played in all of these?
Thank you very much. You know,
All right, I think we have a little bit of network hitch there. Dr. Moses. Dr. Moses. All right, we have a little bit of network hitch. I'm sure Dr. Moses will join up shortly. You know, talking about the efforts that the university management have made, when you look at it, we know, according to Dr. Moses, he mentioned that of course, academic staffs are higher when it comes to qualifications for a lecturer, when it comes to a professor. Okay, Dr. Moses is back on now. Dr. Moses, it's great to have you. Okay, please go ahead.
Yes, what I was trying to say is that, you see, in terms of support that they should get from us, you know, if you look at the way these unions operate, at times when they are having issues that are aligned, maybe there's a particular issue that they're engaging the government, and it's of interest to both ASU and NASU. They always come together and fight it together. You know, you will see that both of them embarking on strike at the same time.
Okay.
Because they are now asking the government to do something that is a common interest to both of them. But when it comes to issues that have to do with their individual interest, because the condition of service for ASU members, they are different from the condition of service that you have for the non-academic staff. So each union, they pursue this agitation independently. You can see, for instance, the salary arrears. You know, ASU pursued it independently. ASU pursued it, and ASU got it. That is why the government has started paying us. So, and that is why you see this, they are woken up to able to pursue their own too. And if you look at even the strike, why that strike was on, there was at a point in time, this SANU and NASU, they called off their strike for some months before ASU strike with the government was resolved, if you remember. So ASU was still on strike, while these people have called off theirs and they have reported. because they negotiated with the government independently, because the government at that time was trying to see what can we do to break the ranks of. So they negotiated with this Sanu and Nasu and began to pay them. And for that reason, they called off the strike, went back to work, while ASU still continued. So it's such like in such situation is like that. But to solve the problem permanently is that university autonomy is needed. Because if you are working for if you are working for a particular university, that university should determine all your remuneration, wages, allowances, and all that. Give you the condition of service and all that. When you centralize it the way we are running it now, for any infraction of this nature, we put the whole system in jeopardy. That means the whole university system is in jeopardy. But when you have autonomous universities administration, you can see that University A may be having issue with its staff. That does not affect University B or C or D, because of the way they run their system. But when you have a centralized structure like the way we have now, you have the problem is the impact all over the country, which is not good for our university system at all. So the problem to solve the problem is that university autonomy that will solve the problem. Thereby, if a staff operate beyond the closing time that is stipulated for you, and if it attracts any form of allowance or whatever benefit that it attracts, the university will quickly respond to that, not asking the federal government to release that kind of thing. The federal government may not know the details of what you have done that requires that. So some of these things bring that kind of argument up when they're making their demand.
Okay, now let's look at mediation, for instance, between the union and the university management. Has there been any effort to mediate between the union and university management to reach a resolution and put an end to the strike?
The university can mediate, but you see, because of the centralized nature of this union, the unions most of the time they engage the federal government ahead. That is why you can see that the minister for state labor is the one responding because of the centralized nature of this unit. But if we are to be something that is handled at the university level, it is the vice chancellor of that particular university who should be talking with them, talking to the union. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I
But
do.
because of the centralized, that is why the federal government, that is why you see, federal government will relieve itself when they allow university autonomy to happen. Because some of these things, distraction that they call upon them and all that, those things will not be left for vice chancellors within their universities to address. Even ASU issues, NASU, SANU, all those issues are administrative issues within. Because if you see what ASU is agitating for instance, ASU is asking for improved learning aid, terms of electronic board, podium, this and that. This is what the university can provide if they are given the opportunity and allow them to use their innovative ways of administering their university. They can handle those things within their university. But because they don't have the autonomy to do that, that is why when ASU raises such things, they will direct them to the federal government that the budget gave them didn't cover such aspects. And this and that, this and that. And that is why we keep having this conversation. So university autonomy will go a long way in addressing this problem. And you will see many universities competing in terms of good administration and and all that. So the best thing is to decentralize the administration system of the university system. Because if we keep running it like this, we keep having this type of issue of national national strike, warning strike, this and that for
Very true.
leaders.
Very true. I completely agree. Now, there's a saying that goes, when two elephants fight, it's the grass that suffers. You've heard that. You've heard that slogan before. You've heard it before, I'm sure. Now,
Yes.
of course, in all of these issues that are ongoing, let's look at the people that will suffer most are the students and stakeholders who are being directly or indirectly affected by the strike. Now, what measures do you think are in place to minimize these impacts?
Yes, it's not a total stop. Once there's a, from when I was in the university, when they embark on a warning strike, they render skeletal cells,
Okay.
you know, instead of having like four people in the department, you might have one person hanging around to attend to files that goes to the HOD and all that. So they still render skeletal cells, but not full service.
Very true.
So that's at the warning level. So when the strike is still definite, then they stop coming to work completely. That is when, and when such thing happen, you will see the HOD and some of the academic staff begin to do the work of the non-academic. They begin to, attend to files, begin to print things by themselves, begin
Exactly.
to, some of those things, they start doing them by themselves. So this is what happens, in that kind of situation.
Very true. Very true, Dr. Moses. Now, what support, if any, are the academic staff unions receiving from other stakeholder groups or organizations in their quest for a resolution? For this whole drama to come to an end?
What it means is that, what we are talking about is salary area, you know. So government will respond by paying the salary area
Very true.
because it's a strike. If the ASU is not punished for no for denying them for that same strike, there's no rationale for not paying this. The government should find a way of paying them. As are paying ASU, also pay them because they all go to the same market
Very
and they are
true.
all in within the. So they should pay them too. They should pay them their arrear, both salaries and allowances. They should pay them. They shouldn't discriminate against them because they went on strike. ASU was not punished for going on strike. In fact, ASU has gotten what the major agitation for their strike, which is the removal from the IPPIS system. And the government, the
Very
president
true.
said that
Yes.
ASU should be. Why are you punishing these people? So they should also be paid for all their arrears and their salary and
Yes.
whatever benefits they haven't got within this period, they should also be paid. But going forward, to avoid this type of problem, the government should think about the autonomy of the university system. It's very, very vital because if you save the government of all this, you know, some of these things they are talking about, these are the things that can be handled by university administration. You know. So and I think that autonomous system that most universities outside the country are, we should emulate that. We should emulate that and see how we can. But you can see, for instance, look at the way the private universities are running. Because of that independent nature, you can see that, they don't really have much of this problem. They keep on.
Yes. Yes.
So,
True.
and allow the vice chancellors of the university to run their university. Like you go to some parastatals, you don't tell the managing director or the chief executive of that parastatal what to do and all that. They use their initiative to run their parastatals and all. The same thing applies. Allow the vice chancellors to do that, you know, to run the university. And all you need to do is to create a framework which they can operate within. And that's all. And policy direction. That is the direction that the government is going. We want more of engineers because the feedback we are having is that we have less engineers in the country. So the admission should target more of engineers or more of medical doctors or more of social scientists or more of this or more of that. That's the direction that the present government has given to them. according to, the need of the country. But, all this, running centralization is not necessary.
Okay, all right, Dr. Moses, let us look at labor issues and challenges. Now, in your own opinion or your own view, how does this strike by the non-academic staff union align with the broader labor issues and challenges facing tertiary education in Nigeria?
You see, labor issues, if you look at the history of Nigeria, labor unions, they have a very rich and long history. They were involved even in the struggle for Nigeria's independence, if you look back, especially the, the railway workers and all. So they have played a very strong and important role in nation building. And for that reason, Nigeria is also a democracy. Everyone has rights, individuals have rights, groups have rights. Especially the Constitution has given us that right of freedom of expression, freedom of association. So it is right for people to come together to push for a common goal.
And let's not
But
forget, Dr.
notwithstanding,
Moses, let's not forget the sensitivity bordering around education in Nigeria, that sector. It's very sensitive. I don't want to divert, but we know the ongoing student loan. So we'll put that aside. That will be a topic for another day. But I just wanted to include that to what you were saying. Please go ahead.
yes, I was just trying to let you know that the labor movement in Nigeria has a rich history because they were involved in the struggle for independence and all that. So they have, but if you look at how labor, we have a trade union act that oversees some of this, how labor movement and issues that have to do with agitation from workers and all that their employers are taken care of. But in some cases, people that are in charge of this association or people from the government who are in government that should be able to negotiate with people that are agitating, they don't really look at this law and see how they can utilize this law to resolve whatever disputes are arising. Strike is not the first option for any labor disagreement. It is the handling of the disagreement that brings about strike. Especially when people are agitating, they are asking questions, why are we not paid our salary area? Our counterparts are paid, we are not paid. There's no explanation. In that kind of scenario, when you are ignoring them and not explaining them, you are giving them the room to come out with strike option. So the government's response to agitation and to request, looking for clearer communication and understanding. When you have such things in place, those mechanisms, when you have them in place, they are likely to resolve issues before, get to the point of embarking on strike. So we should be responsive, especially those who are the helm of affairs that are in this sector, be responsive, to issues before they manifest and become something that has to do with strike. Because if people are responsive and to the agitation of people or unions at the time of the making demand, it may not escalate to the point of having strike.
Very true. Yes, I agree. I agree. I agree. I agree completely. Now, let's look at the prospects for a timely resolution. Now, what are the prospects for a timely resolution to the strike, and what are the contingency plans in place should the strike continue for an extended period? We're talking about the manner, the approach in which they are always going on strike when it comes to Ssanu, when it comes to the Nasu, and when it comes to ASU. It's not timely. The manner sometimes is wrong, sometimes is right, but at least they need that. They need that assurance from the federal government. So what do you think? Should the strike continue for an extended period to when they're request is brought into conclusion, or what's your own opinion when it comes to this particular issue about the prospects for a timely resolution?
So I don't expect the strike to continue beyond the 7 days. In fact, I even expect I want the dispute to be, I want them to come to an agreement before the expiration of this 7 days.
But Dr. Moses, sorry, let me
But
interject, please. Let me just interject. But have you noticed how quiet the whole strike? It's quiet. The federal government has not come out to say anything. They've not come out to even bet an eyelid. It's quiet. Like they're not taking this seriously. I don't know. Maybe you mentioned the manner of approach, but there's the federal government. Do you think they're very lackadaisical when it comes to this strike action that is ongoing, the 7-day warning strike action? It's so their approach is so. They've started. When they're tired, they will stop. When they're tired, they will sit down. That's the kind of vibe we're getting. Nothing is happening. No one has come out to say, okay, we've heard, we'll look into it. I think the approach for me, it's not encouraging. So I think this might linger.
I told you at the earlier part of our conversation.
Yes.
That the manner in which the government responds to ASU's request is different from how it responds to other associations in the university. I told you that.
Yes, you did.
That could be, it's a wrong attitude. It's an attitude that is very wrong. Because by doing that, you are sending the wrong signal that you guys are not, you can't really take us much. If you are not ready to work, go back home and that kind of. But some of these things will happen because people that are in government are never reprimanded for doing the wrong thing. Because we have a dedicated ministry, the Ministry of Labor, that should be able to handle whatever that has to do with labor movement and agitations and strikes and all kinds of things. So if they are not doing their job and they allow the university system to be put in this type of disarray as a result of non-payment of salary arrears, then those who are there should be punished for doing the wrong thing, for not responding adequately. So you are a minister for labor, a minister for state for labor, and two major associations within the university system are going on strike, and nothing much is being heard or being done about it. There's questions to be asked. Why are you a minister if you cannot intervene to resolve the issue of the labor agitation and all that? So I think I should allow the government to do the needful, because if they allow this strike to elongate beyond this warning period, then it will spell a big doom. It's not good at all. It's not welcome at all. If you be able to do something and respond to it quickly to resolve whatever it is. The salary arrears they are talking about, give them when you have, if you can source for funds to pay us, you can source for funds to pay them, because they all operate within the university and they all go to the same market and all. So you cannot discriminate against them by paying ASU members and not paying the non-academic staff.
Well said, Dr. Moses Saleh. Thank you for being a part of Insight today. And so I just wanted you to throw in more light about this quiet vibe when it comes to the federal government, but you have already. I just want to thank you for being a part of Insight today. Thank you so much, Dr. Moses. And yes, Dr. Moses, he is a research fellow and a political scientist. Thank you so much for being a part of the program and giving us your thoughts on this program.
Thank you for having me.
Hope you come again when I invite you so we can talk about the student loan. I really need us to talk about that. I had my views about it, but now that he has been put on hold, let's see how well it goes. We're going to talk about that in the next program, Insight Today. Well, let me just allow you at this point. Thank you so much for being a part of the program.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you. And that's a wrap on the program Insight today. Hope you've been well informed when it comes to the strike action that is ongoing with the SANU and the NASU union. And of course, like I mentioned, I said a lot of the seemingly quiet mood of the federal government in regards to the strike, how important and importantly take these unions, the levity of their silence. It's a cause for worry. I hope this strike does not extend, but according to Dr. Moses Saleh, he says it will not, and he prays it doesn't extend also. Well, thank you all so much for being a part of Insight today. I am Jumai Manson. Have an amazing day ahead. Bye-bye.